But I have heard persistent chatter this week about the possibility that Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson will eventually ask to be traded by the team. One of the huge factors influencing whether or not that happens, who they hire to be the head coach. They've already said they're going to involve him in the process. Well, if they ask him, who do you want, and they don't hire that guy, there's a potential reaction. So there is talk out there that the possibility is at least being broached in conversation with teammates. It's not like he's asked for it. It's not like he ever will. But this one is fascinating to me because, number one, you can't treat a franchise quarterback like you treat any other player and say, sorry, we have a contract, you're bound to be here. And number two, at first blush, he just signed a new contract, Chris. There's no way they can trade him without taking some sort of ridiculous $50 million cap hit. No, based upon the signing bonus that was paid to him, which gets spread over a period of years, the cap charge for trading him would be $21 million and change. Easy for the Houston Texans to justify it, especially when you consider the haul that they would get in return for Deshaun Watson.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing. Now, I mean, listen, this would be some story, or this, bears to be true. This would be some big deal because Deshaun Watson, as we've talked about over the last week and everything like that, he's phenomenal. He is without a doubt one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the game right now. So, with that, the way he plays, but Mike, I can't lie. When I first heard of Nick Caserio, I love Nick Caserio and what he does. I've worked with him. I've seen him in action. I'm a believer in him. But I also did think of, man, Deshaun Watson just had a few years with a guy from New England, and it didn't end that well. Is he going to be in love with, another New England try here? And, so that is an interesting angle just to see where it goes altogether. And again, listen, there's issues within that Texans organization altogether that I think are, not on the national radar altogether that way. So that would be some big deal for Deshaun Watson, but something to keep an eye on.
And who would want him? Well, I'd say
just about everybody.
All but a handful of teams would at least have to engage in the analysis. The Chiefs won't. The Seahawks won't. The Bills won't. The Packers won't. Although, no, they won't. They won't. But my point is, you owe it to yourself. With a young ascending talent who has untapped potential at the quarterback position, if that opportunity presents itself, you owe it to yourself to evaluate. Where are we? Where could we be? What would it take? And the other big factor, Chris, is where does he want to go? Because if he's going to push his way out, I mean, look at it this way. If Antonio Brown was able to avoid the Bills and engineer a trade to the Raiders, well, Deshaun Watson is only going to go where Deshaun Watson wants to go.
Definitely.
Period.
Right.
And I think that's going to be a huge factor in it as well, if it comes to it. And again, we're not saying it will, but we're trying to keep you alerted to what could happen. We're very big on trying to stay ahead of the ball. The hiring of the coach by the Houston Texans could be the first domino that falls in a line that lands with Deshaun Watson playing for someone else.
Yeah, I know. You're right, and we'll see where that goes. Now, listen, if they hired Brian Daboll, I would be like, oh, don't leave. Man, don't leave. This offense, Brian Daboll's offense, I know he's from New England, and so is Billy O'Brien. It's not the same offense. Billy O'Brien's offense is New England light. That's what it is. Brian Daboll's offense is, I got everything New England, and I've added my own spin and some college stuff because I was at Alabama, and I got a lot of different ways to attack you. They got every play in the history of mankind in that playbook. So from that purpose, I hope Deshaun Watson doesn't just take it as, wait, another New England guy coming here. I don't like this. I want to get out. No, he's different. Brian Daboll's not your typical New England guy, as in his persona, his personality, or the way he coaches necessarily. So, we'll see. And I mean, you're right. Everybody's going to be calling and wanting to know about Deshaun Watson. Everybody except the teams you've talked about for the most part. And you said it right, too. First off, if a franchise quarterback, he just signed a new contract, he says he doesn't want to be there, they're going to try to trade him. You don't want your franchise quarterback to be the leader of your team and not like the place he's at. And to your second point, yes, he's going to be able to force where he wants to go if that does come about, because the same reason. Nobody's going to want to trade for a guy that doesn't want to be there, and especially if it's your quarterback. So this would be an amazing development, and we'll see.
And the other thing to keep in mind, unless they do some restructurings and renegotiations that drive up future cap numbers and make it more expensive from a cap standpoint to move on from him, it gets cheaper each year. So maybe they convince him. Maybe Jack Easterby throws an arm around him and sweet talks him and convinces him to give it a year with Brian Daboll or Josh McDaniels or whoever the coach is if they're not hiring the guy that Deshaun Watson has recommended. And maybe a year from now, we see where it is. But this is something to monitor. Sorry, Texans fans. I know it's been a rough time for you the past couple of years. And this is what happens when you have a great player on a dysfunctional team who looks around and says, boy, if I was in Kansas City, we'd be doing what Kansas City is doing. If I was in Buffalo, we'd be doing what Buffalo is doing. How can I get to a place where I can do what guys like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are doing?
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.